a apartment building, okay, and she was a tenant herself, but she rented out the rest of the units, and she was a slumlord. I mean, like they said one time, somebody moved into a unit and went to open the fridge, and this is gross as fuck, a waterfall of maggots poured out.
Oh my God.
Disgusting.
And so, naturally they said, we're not paying our rent and we're leaving. And so, they filed charges, eventually they all gathered together and went after her as a slumlord. And that lady who had also been slandered was the attorney that had handled the case.
Oh.
And so now they're starting to, all these they call her a super spreader of these lies and threats. And so they're still, they had foreclosed on those properties. That was in the early 2000s. So she'd been doing to these people for decades. I mean, that's just...
Please tell me that they sued the piss out of her.
Oh, they're trying.
And she's in prison.
The lawyer said one of her... And again, the lawyer, they would take her to court and stop her from posting things about her, so they just start she'd go after the families. So the lawyer said one of her relatives was applying for jobs and couldn't get a call back. And finally she was like, whatever, I'm going to try my maiden name. She immediately started getting calls when she applied under her maiden name because there wasn't filth out there under the maiden name. And you think of, those kind of accusations, they could ruin your livelihood or your reputation, get you killed, or make you kill yourself. Break up families. What if your spouse believes it, or what? And even if they don't,
see, it'd be really hard. And if I wasn't such a law-abiding citizen, it would be incredibly difficult to not put a bullet inside of her. Because she's not going to stop.
No, because, get this, so in October 20...
And there's not really anything you can do to make her stop.
Well, they're actually trying to make it so this woman can never have access to the internet again.
How are you going to enforce that?
Through, probation and stuff. Because they do that with child molesters.
But how... Let's talk about logistically. There are so many encryption tools, VPNs, burner phones, all of that. How would they know?
I think the only thing they could do is put a ankle monitor on her, and then and make sure she didn't have access to it in her home. And if she did break it, then she'd have to go back to jail. But you're right. I mean, it's not going to be that easy.
Yeah, I mean, that's an incredibly...
Somebody who did this, was savvy enough to do this for decades, is going to be able to foil most of those things.
Yeah, and I mean, that's... Even if she's not just the, biggest technical expert on the planet, that's still just an incredibly difficult thing to enforce.
And, so in 2018, they sued her for defamation.
I'd have sued her for every penny she had.
In Toronto court, and at that point, they had hundreds of posts where she had falsely accused people of all manner of things. She says she did not write those posts. Her enemies are fabricating the case against her. You know what I mean? But I mean, at this point, they're starting to, evidence is piling up. Most of the attacks were posted anonymously, but one time that they had found an old WordPress blog where she was listed as the author that talked about the original man being a pedophile. She was asked about it in court, and then suddenly that was deleted off the internet. That's not... Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. And then, so... This reporter's during multiple interviews through months, she really wouldn't give me any information. She did tell me that she was really worried about the impact that this investigation could have on me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because, she's a New York Times article. Anybody that Googles my name, this will come up. I don't want this to come up.
That is unfucking fortunate.
And then, then after that, shit starts being said about the reporter online.
Oh my God.
I mean...
Isn't that fucking coincidental?
Yeah, I mean... Wow, everybody who brushes up against this person in traffic or in the hallway suddenly is a pedophile. So, and then apparently...
She didn't even come up with better shit, just everybody's a pedophile?
Yeah, that's just her standard. It's just easy that way.
You hurt my feelings,
so you're a pedophile.
You must be diddling kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, they said...
Seems like she'd be more creative than that after 30 years.
Nah, I mean, if you get something
yeah,
works.
if it works. If it ain't broke.
So, let's see. A waterfall of maggots. Oh,
That's such a disgusting visual.
That's very, very visual.
Yeah.
So, and they were telling me, you know, her family's tried to get her mental health and...
no, she doesn't need mental health treatment. She needs to not have any access to the fucking internet.
Mm-hmm. They were saying...
Because that's what I've been screaming for the longest time, is that anonymity...
Oh, yeah.
Has emboldened people that normally would not dare do that shit to your face.
Mm-hmm. Said, you know, that individually, all the people that she's done this to have tried to get the tech companies to take them off the sites, but they're like, we can't. I don't understand why they can't.
They can.
They just, they don't feel like they should have to. And then, let's see.
Yeah, it's not that they can't, it's that they can't force them to.
Strangely, the only site that they were able to have success with was that rip-off report.
After they paid them?
Yeah, after they were charging the $2,000 to $4,000. Let's see. Oh, she said... The next month, Mrs. Atas, who was the crazy lady, started calling the guy from Rip-Off Reports, the founder. Because of the nature of his business, he records his calls.
Oh, I can imagine.
She said, I'm frantic right now. I have posted reports. I just discovered that your company has removed the postings. So there's proof right there, recorded, that she actually did do it. And so apparently she's, not only does she do this, but her other hobby is filing frivolous lawsuits.
Oh, wow.
She has actually been...
Well, they do go hand in hand.
Yeah. In 2017, a Toronto judge deemed her a vexatious litigant who was ungovernable and bent on a campaign of abuse and harassment, citing her digital assaults on lawyers. That means Miss Atas could no longer file lawsuits without the court first signing off on them.
That's awesome.
And at that point, she couldn't file lawsuits anymore, so she doubled down on
the digital
harassment. It's like, God damn. So then in 2018, the original guy that we were talking about, Mr. Kaplan from Great Britain, he hired a private eye to trail her because she wouldn't tell anybody where she lived or how she accessed the internet, because they were trying to get a ruling that would restrict her, get her a conviction and a ruling that would restrict her access to the internet. Right. Because even the judge has said that's the only way you're going to stop her, because clearly, you know, that's her weapon of choice.
Well, that's not the only way.
Well, so apparently,
actually, my way is the only way.
He's following her. She left the court, got on a subway, rode it for a while, then boarded a bus. Then she entered a public library and worked at their computer for a couple of hours. Then she rode a bus back to a homeless shelter.
She's using
public
resources to do this. Now, in the States, that's a criminal act.
Yeah, I don't know about it in Canada, but yeah. Wow. So for all this, she was sentenced to 74 days in prison.
Oh my God.
Now, strangely, while she was in prison, the posts slowed to they didn't stop completely because they were still propagating, you know.
Right.
But they got it went from to just, you know, a few. And when she was released 74 days later, wouldn't you know it, they all started again.
That right there should have been a dead giveaway.
Oh my God.
If man, you know what, if I was the judge, I'd be like, look, you're clearly crazy. So you're never going to be out in public again. I'm sentencing you to life in prison or life in a mental institution.
Okay, this is my favorite. Okay, so listen. During an interview with Miss Atas in November, she grew angry that I planned to write this article. A week later, someone started writing posts about me and my husband on CheaterBot, Bad Girl Reports, and some other sites where we knew she had targeted Mr. Babcock and his family. The post claimed my husband was a drug addict and that I was a plagiarist. Nothing worse you could say about a reporter.
Right.
Who slept with my boss in order to get promoted. Miss Atas said it wasn't her. Within a week, there were more than 100 posts about me.
Jesus Christ.
My editor called to try to reason with Mrs. Atas. Posts started to appear about her. Of course, she didn't know anything about that. In an email, she warned me, well, any story in the New York Times will obviously bring out the trolls on the internet, and it could multiply the internet postings.
See,
that's a threat! what?
Yeah, it is. And if I was a judge, I would tell her, be like, you're going to prison for the rest of your life, or you're going to fucking mental institution for the rest of your life. Either one, you're not going to have the internet access ever again, so you take your pick. I don't give a fuck which one.
On Thursday, the judge issued a ruling in the defamation suits, finding that she was responsible, and he wrote, she is apparently content to revel in ancient grievances, delighting in legal process and unending conflict because of the misery and expense it causes for her opponents. He ordered her to stop, which we all know she's not going to do.
No.
She's already been to jail for it and not stop.
I think she needs to take a vacation in a freezer out in the middle of the woods.
That's right.
Oh my God. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, it says some of these people have literally spent years. Okay, it says, yet even all of this hasn't solved the problem. See for yourself. Do a Google search for Guy Babcock.
See,
oh, wow. Yep, and there it is. All over his face.
See, and you know, you have to admire that level of dedication. Because you're talking...
I'm not that dedicated to anything.
15, 20 posts a day. I don't send that many emails, and I work for a living.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't send that many emails. I don't send that many emails when I probably should.
But, like, nothing has been able to keep... The only thing that's kept my attention for 30 years is Ross.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Lord have mercy. That
I mean, after a while, it's got to be like, God damn, this is kind of getting old.
Yeah, I think I need a new hobby. Like,
yeah, let me go smoke some meth or something.
Like, do I have to do this again today?
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ on a cracker.
I mean, clearly the woman's unbalanced, but
she's unbalanced as a moderate.
Nothing's going to make her stop. Nothing's going to make her stop.
She's unhinged.
Yeah,
in a bad way. And the only, like I said, there are three things that'll make her stop: put her in prison, put her in a mental institution, or put her in the ground. And I would tell, if I was a judge, I'd tell her, those are your three options. You take your pick. I don't give a fuck which one.
Just make her stop.
But you're going to stop this.
But that's so
today.
That's so crazy. Like, they can, defamation. They can fine her for shit. But if she's lost all of her property and she's living in a hovel, they'll never get anything out of her.
No.
So literally, other than dragging her ass to court periodically and inconveniencing her that way, there's nothing. What can they do to her?
The ground.
But I mean, she just
Freezer.
can do this.
The freezer.
Completely destroy their lives.
And there's no repercussions at all.
Because they've done everything you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And she just ramps it up like, fuck you.
Yeah. That's the problem that I have with the internet. I mean, just like any piece of technology, no matter what it is, if it's got a good application, it's got 10 bad ones.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's always...
And we've talked about this before, about this sense of anonymity behind a keyboard, these fucking keyboard tough guys doing this bullshit that there's no fucking way that they would say to somebody's face. She wouldn't say that to their fucking faces. Mm-mm. That's why she hid behind an anonymous name and a fucking keyboard in her little shitty fucking duplex in Canada
with the maggots,
with the waterfall maggots, and it's like, man, one of the things that just truly burns my ass is when people aren't held accountable for their shitty actions,
especially when those actions really harm others.
They have real world consequences. Mm-hmm. You go from the digital domain to the physical world, and there are real world consequences. And he just fell the fuck down.
Yeah, he jumped-ish.
And these they're never going to get all that shit off the internet. And this bitch is never going to stop until she's dead. Mm-hmm.
She'll fall over one day she'll fall over dead, and the post will stop being new posts, and they'll go and find her to somewhere, and that's the only way it's going to end.
Yeah, and they'll eventually in 30, 40 years they'll go to the bottom of the list, and most people won't ever see them again. I'm just saying that if it were me, if she was impacting my life like that, I think her demise might be a little bit expedited. That's all I'm saying.
It's fucked up.
If the courts won't do it,
I found that today, and I was just like, what the fuck?
It gets dangerously cold in the north parts of Canada.
Yeah,
and it would be a shame if an old woman got left out there
in a freezer in the woods
with you in the fucking freezer. got left out there.
Y'all, if I get left in a freezer, please do something.
Well, we gotta find you first. I mean,
well, if I go missing, look in the freezer.
Any freezer?
Any freezer he has access to.
Walking through Home Depot. Nope, not this one.
Don't say, Brittany!
All right, did you find a thing?